Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to go through and do another test regarding the 1/3 rule with lawn care. Everybody knows that you should only cut 1/3 of your blade of grass for each cut. Now this 1/3 rule is everywhere online, but is it really a rule or is it more of a fallacy? And why? Today we're going to test that, so stay tuned. Thank you for joining me once again, everybody. This is Mike with Jealous Lawn Care, and judging by the stakes that you see behind me, it's time for another test. I know everybody loves our tests, and so do I. So, without further ado, let's get started. So today, we're going to talk about the 1/3 rule. So everybody sees it online as far as 1/3 of the blade of grass. That's a rule. You don't want to cut any more than 1/3 of. Reason being is because of the fact that if you cut more than 1/3, you're actually going to get a lot of ripping and open the ground or the grass for infestation from bugs and also for disease, because it's going to have tearing in it. And also you're not going to get a clean cut. So let's find out how true that is. So I've got two tests going. Thank goodness I only have two this time. So in this section right here, I'm going to mow it once at 4 inches, highest of my setting on the Toro. Alright, and the grass, I've already done my tape measuring, and the grass right now is perfectly set for 6 inches. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to be mowing this section here at 4 inches just once, and then this section over there, which is the blue section, I'm going to be cutting it as an overgrown lawn, meaning I'm going to be cutting it at 2.5 inches. So obviously cutting a 6-inch grass at 2.5 inches is definitely an overgrown standpoint. So this is what we're going to test to see how clean the cuts are. And also, in my opinion, we're going to be getting a whole bunch of single stragglers, as they call them. So first test, we're going to cut at 2.5 inches. Now, we're going to cut at 4 inches for the strip on the blue. Alright, nice simple test. Now let's look at the review. So, first things you obviously notice, other than the beautiful line striping, right, is the fact that in the 2.5 inch scenario, we have a lot of clumping on the sides because it's overgrown. So if you have this level of clumping going on, then you're obviously cutting the grass and it's overgrown. So definitely want to change your mower setting or mow more frequently, because this is going to take a harder time to decompose and going to give you too much of a thatch layer, which you don't want. Let's look at the 4 inch side and compare. So I don't see any clumping going on with the sides here. So the 1/3 rule is working great for that aspect. So the next factor we're going to look at after we've already looked at clumping is going to be, let's see how many stragglers we have. So in the 2.5-inch cuts, and again I just did 2 cuts because it should show enough. When I'm looking, you can see stragglers. You can see straggler here. Hello, I'm still 6 inches tall. You can see a straggler here. And you can see a bunch of bad height here, a bunch of stragglers. Maybe that's a better angle. There you go. You can see how many there are right there, how many stragglers at a bad or wrong height, we'll say. Stragglers over there, a couple over there. We'll go to a different section here. You got another straggler right here. I mean, there's stragglers everywhere. Stragglers here, straggler right there. Now, let's move to the, let me do the same angle just to make sure that the sun is not a factor. So now, we're gonna look at the 4-inch strips, find out how many stragglers there are. Don't see any in this area. Pretty clean cut. This is a fun little crawling exercise for me. Crawling in my grass. Gotta be honest, haven't really done much of this. So I do see a straggler right over there. You can probably see it from here. I do see one. Oh, that's the end of the grass, so it's actually not a straggler. So looks pretty good. I don't really see any stragglers. Oops, I did lie. There's a few right here. It looks like this is on our middle pass, meaning this is where the wheels were, and I didn't overlap enough, but you can tell that's pretty obviously what that is. But overall, you can tell a big difference just alone with the stragglers. Next factor, let's look at the quality of the cut. So just alone, you can tell that this is browner than over here. Hopefully you can tell that on the camera. I can definitely tell a big difference here. And sure, you can argue that it's because I cut my grass normally at 3.5 inches, and this time I cut it lower, and we all know that the lower you cut it, when the grass is not used to being cut at that level, that it's kind of like scalping it, we'll say. So that can definitely be part of the factor. But let's just look at it. So I'm trying to look for browning activity on top or splitting. So you got a little bit of browning here on top. More over here. Trying to look for splitting activity. And again, just to make sure I do have a sharp blade, as always. I sharpen it once a month, but I also just sharpened it before this video for you guys. Oh no, clumping! Don't see too much of the splitting, to be honest. I mean, I do see a lot of brown on top over here, which I don't like. A little bit of, here's some splitting right here. Oops. So you can see this top of the blade is split right in the middle. trying to find some more for you guys. I mean, it's not that bad of a cut, to be honest. But, oh yeah, never mind. As soon as I say something, I see a whole bunch of more splitting. Can you see this right there? This splitting right there? Yeah, that's definitely not good. Gotta be careful on that. So, just a lot more browning on top. And this might be due, like I said earlier, to the fact that it's not being used to cut at this height. All right, now let's check the 4-inch. And just in case you guys didn't do the math like I already did, but since my grass was 6 inches, this 4-inch mark is exactly 1/3. So, can you see the difference in quality? There's no brown on top of any of this. Look at all those green tops. I mean, this is all just cut, but you don't even see any brown on top at all. Any at all. Go over here. I mean, this is just so much greener on top. I love it. Let me look for some split ends, we'll call them. Do a little more crawling here for you guys. Oh, we have a straggler. Missed that one in the last one. Must have been pushed down or matted down. Got a tad bit more browning on top here, but that's still a clean cut. Not as good as a few seconds ago though, but still much, much better than the other side. Trying to look for some split ends for you guys. I don't really see any. This is probably the worst of it right here. It's not split, but still brown on top. Okay everybody, what did we learn in today's video? In my opinion, these are the things that we learned. Cutting a 6-inch grass at 2.5 inches was this test. And this was clearly too much for the lawnmower to handle at once, in one cut. Reason being is because you saw the difference in browning. And if you want to attribute the browning due to the fact that I'm not consistently mowing at 2.5 inches, feel free. But that might be part of it. Could be, we'll call it 50% of it. But that much browning, I can't imagine is due to that lowered 1 inch. Alright, it's due to cutting and tearing at the blades instead of getting that nice clean cut. But again, that's my opinion, so you can choose to agree or disagree. But the next factor we cannot dispute on, and that's the amount of stragglers. Now you saw the amount of stragglers in the 2.5 inches versus the 4-inch side. Big difference, like I said before, in greenness and brownness versus the stragglers. We had a lot of stragglers in the 2.5 inch section and only 1 or 2 maybe in the 4-inch section. So what are the reasons that we're typically mowing a overgrown lawn, we'll say? Basically, it all comes down to time, in my opinion. We don't want to end up mowing the lawn twice and it gets overgrown because of maybe we just haven't got around to it, we're on vacation for a little bit, maybe a week on vacation, maybe it's due to a whole bunch of rain every day and then this conflicts with your schedule as far as when you like to mow. Maybe you like to mow on the weekends and it was raining all weekend so you don't have a time and it just grows and grows and grows. So you figure, hey, let me just make one cut of it. Even though it's 6 inches tall, I'm going to mow it at 2.5 inches. And of course, we've all been there. This is all common stuff for all of us that deal with lawn care. And I just want to caution you, based upon this video and the findings. Now, yes, we are all lazy sometimes, and we don't want to end up mowing the whole lawn twice because it's overgrown. But in my opinion, what you've seen here, this many stragglers, imagine, I mean, this is my backyard. People don't really care too much in the backyard, but if this is my front yard, where my neighbors are seeing it, and I have all those stragglers, let's say 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000 blades of grass are so much taller than the other one, looking like this. that's looking really stupid to me. Almost as stupid as maybe this little example looks on camera. But it's the quickest thing I could think of, so gotta deal with it. So if that were my front yard and I had all those stragglers, I'd be pretty embarrassed, and I'd wanna recut that. So basically, when you see those stragglers, you'd probably go over it yourself anyways, an extra time or an extra 2 times. So realistically, aren't you essentially double cutting your lawn anyways? So why not do it properly and get rid of your issues with the surrounding and also the issues with the splitting of the grass? This way we'll avoid some lawn fungus issues and possible infestation. So think about it like that. You don't want a whole bunch of stragglers, especially not in your front yard. You don't want to see stragglers anywhere. You don't want to see those mohawks. Maybe you missed a little strip or something like these strips that I got in the middle of these. Looks horrible. It bothered me just looking at it on camera. I can't stand when it's not even grass. One other thing I do want to mention real quick is a lot of you might be doing this method, and if this is you, I want to hear about you. Confess in the comments below. So this is overgrown. This is my last overgrown section in the middle here, and a lot of us, instead of cutting the whole lawn twice, we're just going to take little strips out of it. Instead of cutting at the full, let's say 22-inch mower height, or mower width, excuse me, you're just going to take little strips and do maybe 5 to 10 inches at a time. And yes, this is the best way to cut an overgrown grass by far. As we talked about in prior videos, that's the best way to do it. Except the better way to do it is to mow everything twice. Because essentially, if your mower is 22 inches and you're mowing, let's say 10 inches, then technically you're mowing even a little more than twice. If that look familiar to you, I want to see your comment in the below. Admit to it. We all do it. I do it myself, so nothing wrong with that, but I just want to let you know that mowing the whole lawn twice is actually going to be the same amount of work as what we just did here, mowing these little strips, because we don't want to mow the whole thing because it's going to be too much clumping, and we want to remove all the clumps by going over it once or twice. That's one of the good ways. If you're mowing an overgrown grass and you're doing these little strips, that's one of the great ways to avoid the clumping, is to go along with the mower and basically chop it up again. So just want to give you that little heads up information right there. So I hope you guys are in the same boat as me and agree. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And thank you again for watching. This is Mike with Jealous Lawn Care, and we'll see you next time.